I went through a breakup maybe over a year and a half ago now, something like that. And I was about to get married and everything. It was wild.
Oh, wow.
And it was bugged out. Like, wedding was planned, a house was basically bought, like it was bugged out. I met this girl right after, and she was there for me after my breakup. She was there for me, but I just couldn't. She wanted more than I could give in that moment. I was so broken from, that breakup. I knew I needed some time alone. I needed to find myself, and, it's cliche, but it really is. It really is the truth. The cycle in me that has gone from relationship to relationship and not allowed myself to breathe, that part of me was like, yo, bro, you're doing the same thing you've been doing your whole life. You've been doing this shit and it has not worked. And you are jumping from relationship to relationship to avoid dealing with yourself. You really
Yes.
are. Like, you're never going to find yourself in any of these women. You're not, and it's very hard to believe, especially when you're dealing with abandonment issues and you're dealing with a parent that left, shit like that, because you just want someone there. You want to feel like there's somebody there. So when they're not there, it's like I'm alone, and then you almost feel like it's like, okay, well, what do I do? What do I do now that I'm alone? And the only way you learn how to be alone is to be alone. And I think I was doing that because I just didn't want to face the truths of, like, it's very easy for you to say, oh, it's this person's fault, or this person wasn't doing this, and this is why I felt that way. But it was like, but like, forget about any of the stuff you think that this person did to you that was wrong, and only focus on the shit that you did wrong.
That's right. That's right.
Like, literally. And that's been hard. It's been hard now making amends with myself, and and really, like, taking inventory of, like, yo, like, what was all the shit that you did, bro? What were the times when you weren't your best, when you couldn't love, when you lied, when you did this, when whatever, right? Like, what was all, take track of all of that shit and try to start dealing with it one by one. Don't look at the list, because then you're gonna get overwhelmed and you're gonna get sad, and you can't deal with nothing. But if you just start dealing with it one by one, then you can start checking it off.
Me personally, I learned that I had a really hard time being alone and being still. So for me, the idea of doing nothing was so scary for me, was so scary for, like, the little Justin inside of me, that I had to fill my time. I had to overcompensate. I had to create. I was running from the fear of what would come up when I was alone. Because when I was alone, if I had to be alone with myself, then I had to actually think and process. So even when I was alone, where would I go? I'd go to social media. I would go to porn. I would go to anything I could possibly go to distract me. When in reality, the one thing I needed more than anything was to be alone and learn how to connect with myself. Because I have this belief that all of these addictions, all of these things that we do, all of our coping mechanisms come from a deep desire to connect, not just with other people, but to ourselves. Because there's a part of ourselves that wasn't heard, wasn't listened to, wasn't loved. So what you're touching on right now is really important, whether it's going through a breakup and really taking account, like you said, of how you were in the relationship, which, let's be real, a lot of us men don't do. A lot of us men don't do that when we leave a relationship. That's why the next relationship ends the way the one did before.
Right.
What are you doing differently now? Because it seems like you're actually sitting with yourself.
I mean, I want to say to any, men who feel like they can't be still and sit alone and deal with themselves, that I'm going through that journey with you. It's not like I've been doing this shit for years. Like, I ain't an expert, like, I'm struggling like you. There's porn, there's, girl, a random girl, like, you just chilling and there's nothing going on, and you're like, okay, today I'm gonna be by myself, and then a girl hits you up and you're like, like,
well,
I don't know.
These are Anthony Ramos problems.
I was gonna say.
Nah. But seriously, it's like in the moments where you where you literally are like it takes discipline.
Yeah.
It's funny. I sat with my pastor the other day for dinner, and we've been texting each other this thing called #OnMission. I've been continuing to say to myself, like, yo, what's the mission? What's the mission? Is this going to throw me off the mission? And again, like, I'm only months into this shit. I'm not like I ain't been doing this for years. Like, I'm months into trying to be like, into actually being like, all right, cool. Let's get aligned. Let's get going. Let's get on mission. Let's like get focused. You know, so there's still, you know, it's you know, I'm a baby in this shit right now. You know, but I'm you know, I think that what's encouraging is that, you know, like when you're a baby, you get excited about everything. You want to touch everything.
Wonder.
And then every time, every little victory, every time you don't answer that message, or every time you don't go out, you know, because sometimes you might fuck up, and you might, or not even fuck up, but you might be like, oh, I'm gonna answer that message. Oh, I'm gonna go out. But every time you don't do it, that's a victory. That's a small victory. Yeah. And the more small victories you could rack, you know what I'm saying? By the time a year goes by, you're looking at your record, that shit look pretty good. And you're like, I bet. Let me see how many small victories I could keep racking. You know what I'm saying? Baseball players play 162 games a year. These motherfuckers, they not winning every game.